Matt Kesson. Matt Foster has food poisoning, or else he would be here talking about this stuff.
Oh, no.
I know. Who here has not been to an American Civic Forum show before? Okay, oh, a good number of people. Well, welcome. It's a weird little show, but we're proud of it. This is our second season of doing the series of Great and Happy People. This is the 5th of 7 shows in this season. We have 2 more coming up, GLBTQ in June, and Independence and Enlightenment in July. Another thing we have coming up is that we're at the Fringe. We're doing a show about Clara Barton with Linda Sue Anderson. Yes! I'm not sure if you're applauding Clara Barton or Linda Sue Anderson, but they are both deserving. Yes. Check the program for the dates and times of that. All of this is in the program. Another thing that's in the program is our upcoming poster show called Democratic Values. We also have postcards for that out there. And if you know any visual artists or graphic designers, have them check it out on AmericanCivicForum.org. We are still looking for submissions because this will be an art show. Reimagining banknotes as public art. Also, if you are so inclined, we would love for you to donate. There are so many worthy causes out there, and we will in fact be discussing more of them at the end of the show. But what we're attempting to do here is really unique in the U.S. political ecosystem right now, and if you like it, please support it. Join our mailing list. Again, if you enjoy this, learn more about it and keep coming back. Also, we have audience response forms that you can fill out at the desk, and those are extremely helpful to us as far as getting grants and all kinds of different stuff. So please, during the intermission at the end of the show, well, it's not an intermission at the end of the show, there will be a talk back afterwards with an intermission in between. So during that, please fill out those forms. So, without further ado, if I may please have Zoe Benston, Shahad El-Khair, and David Tyler McKay. Throughout its history, our country has welcomed immigrants.
The bosom of America is open to receive not only the opulent and respectable stranger, but the oppressed and persecuted of all nations and religions, whom we shall welcome to a participation of all our rights and privileges, if by decency and propriety of conduct they appear to merit the enjoyment. George Washington, 1783.
We hold out to the people of other countries an invitation to come and settle among us as members of our rapidly growing family. And for the blessings which we offer them, we require of them to look upon our country as their country. And for the blessing, and to unite with us in the great task of preserving our institutions and thereby perpetuating our liberties. President John Tyler, 1841.
Our nation is the enduring dream of every immigrant who's ever set foot on these shores, and the millions still struggling to be free. This nation, this idea called America, was and always will be a new world, our new world. George H.W. Bush, 1990.
And throughout its history, our country has hated immigrants.
Why should Pennsylvania, founded by the English, become a colony of aliens who will shortly be so numerous as to Germanize us instead of us Anglifying them, and will never adopt our language or customs any more than they can acquire our complexion? Benjamin Franklin, 1751.
Teddy Oakley votes. He has not been in the country 6 months. He never knew an hour in civilized society. To compare him to an intelligent freed man would be an insult to the latter. The Irish filled our prisons, our poorhouses, our reform schools, our hospitals, our eleemosynary and reformatory institutions of all sorts. Scratch a pauper or a convict, and the chances are that you scratch the skin of an Irish Catholic at the same time. Chicago Post, 1868.
I'm not in favor of excluding the Chinaman from our shores because he is a Chinaman, but because his ideals and his civilization are absolutely opposed to the ideals and civilization of the American people. Samuel Gompers, President of the American Federation of Labor, 1905.
Harrison and his ilk believe that the displaced person is a human being, which he is not. And this applies particularly to the Jews who are lower than animals. George Patton, 1945.
We see this tension around every piece of immigration legislation and through every period of American history, including the modern day when immigration has been in the news a bit, though, of course, this is easy to overlook, particularly since it is being led by a White House noted for its calmness and reason. Laughing at that. Nowadays it is trendy in certain circles to say we are all immigrants. It is said with the best of intentions. Nevertheless, it is understandable that some may wince when they hear these words. We are not all immigrants. Mexicans living in California, Arizona, and other southwestern states before 1848, for example, didn't cross any borders to get here. The border crossed them. Ditto with Puerto Ricans who were granted U.S. citizenship in 1917, whether they wanted it or not. It's also questionable to describe people who were kidnapped from Africa and brought here against their will as immigrants, with all due respect to Ben Carson, which is to say, none. Of course, the biggest problem with saying we are all immigrants is that it does imply that when Europeans discovered the Americas, there was nobody living here, which is, of course, false. Sagoyewatha, also known as Red Jacket, was a chief of the Seneca tribe in western New York. The name Sagoyewatha roughly translates as, he keeps them awake. The name was bestowed upon him because of his oratory skills. In 1805, after Christian missionaries requested permission to evangelize the Seneca, Sagoyewatha delivered the following speech to the U.S. Senate, read today by Cole Miner.
Friend and brother, it was the will of the Great Spirit that we should meet together this day. He orders all things and has given us a fine day for our counsel. He has taken this garment from before the sun and caused it to shine with brightness upon us. Our eyes are opened that we see clearly. Our ears are unstopped, that we have been able to hear distinctly the words that you have spoken. For all these favors, we thank the Great Spirit and Him only. Brother, listen to what we say. There was a time when our forefathers owned this great island. Their seats extended from the rising to the setting sun. The Great Spirit made it for the use of Indians. He had created the buffalo, the deer, and other animals for food. He had made the deer and the beaver, and their skins served us clothing. He had them scattered over the country and taught us how to take them. He had caused the earth to produce corn for bread. All this he had done for us, his red children, because he loved us. If we had any disputes about hunting grounds, they were generally settled without much shedding of blood. But an evil day has come upon us. Your forefathers crossed the great waters and landed on this island. Their numbers were small. They found friends and not enemies. They told us they had fled from their own country for the fear of wicked men and come here to enjoy their religion. They asked for a small seat. We took pity on them, granted their request, and they sat down amongst us. We gave them corn and meat. They gave us poison in return. The white people had now found our country. Tidings were carried back, and more came amongst us. Yet we did not fear them. We took them to be friends, and they called us brothers. We believed them, and we gave them a larger seat. At length, their numbers had increased greatly. They wanted more land. They wanted our country. Our eyes were opened, and our minds became uneasy. Wars took place, Indians were hired to fight Indians, and many of our people were destroyed. They also brought strong liquor among us. It was strong and powerful and has slain thousands. Brothers, our seats were once large and yours very small. You have now become great people, and we have scarcely a place to spread our blanket. You have got our country, but are not satisfied. You want to force your religion upon us. Brother, continue to listen. You say you are sent to instruct us how to worship the Great Spirit agreeably to his mind. You say you are right and we are lost. How do you know this to be true? We understand that your religion is written in a book. If it is not intended for us as well, has not the Great Spirit given it to us, and not only to us? But why did he not give it to our forefathers, the knowledge of this book, with the means of understanding it rightly? We only know what you tell us about it. How shall we know when to believe, being so deceived by the white people? Brother, you say there is but one way to worship and serve the Great Spirit. If there is but one religion, why do you white people differ so much about it? Why not all agree? And you can all read the book. Brother, we do not understand these things. We are told your religion was given to your forefathers and has been handed down from father to son. We also have a religion which was given to our forefathers and has been handed down to us, their children. We worship that way. It teaches us to be thankful for all the favors we receive, to love each other and to be united. We never quarrel about religion. Brother, the Great Spirit has made us all. But he has made a great difference between the white and the red children. He has given us a different complexion and different customs. Why may we not conclude that he has given us a different religion according to our understanding? The Great Spirit does right. He knows what is best for his children. We are satisfied. Brother, we do not wish to destroy your religion or take it from you. We only want to enjoy our own. Brother, you say you have not come to get our land or our money, but to enlighten our minds. I will now tell you that I have been to your meetings and saw you collecting money from the meeting. I cannot tell what this money was intended for, but suppose it was for your minister. And if we should conform to your way of thinking, perhaps you may want some from us. Brother, we are told you have been preaching to the white people in this place. These people are our neighbors. We have become acquainted with them. We will wait and see what effect your preaching has upon them. If we find it does them good, makes them honest, and less disposed to cheat Indians, we will then consider it again what you have said. Brother, you have now heard our answer to your talk, and this is all we have to say at present. As we are going to part, we will come and take your hand, and hope the Great Spirit will protect you on your journey, and return you safe to your friends.
Next up is a sonnet. by Emma Lazarus, a Jewish-American poet and passionate advocate for immigrants, particularly Jewish refugees fleeing Russian pogroms. In 1883, Emma Lazarus wrote The New Colossus for an arts auction that was raising money for the construction of a pedestal to hold a little-known piece of outsider art called the Statue of Liberty. Liberty was an abstract concept. You can't make a statue of it. Plus, why does it have pointy things coming out of its head? This is what they would have said if they'd had the internet in those days, which, happily, they did not. When the statue was erected 3 years later in 1886, the poem had largely been forgotten. Lazarus died a year later with no way of knowing how iconic her words would become, other than Ouija board communication. The plaque we associate with the statue was not placed until 1903, thanks to the efforts of a close friend of hers. The New Colossus by Emma Lazarus, read by Shahad Elker.
Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a woman with a torch, whose flame is the imprisoned lightning, and her name, Mother of Exiles. From her beak and hand glows worldwide welcome. Her mild eyes command the air-rich harbor that twin cities frame. Keep ancient lands, you storied pomp, cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Thank you.
Emma Lazarus was not the only one asked to help fund the Statue of Liberty. She was a poet. That would be stupid. The statue itself was donated by France, but the American public had to raise $250,000 to build the pedestal it stands on, the equivalent of more than $6 million today. Sam Song Bo was a Chinese immigrant who received an appeal to donate to this fund. He was so struck by the irony of this that he wrote and published a letter to the editor in response. Now, this wasn't the fun kind of irony, the Internet Cat Video Festival sort of irony. Rather, the Chinese Exclusion Act had taken effect just 3 years earlier in 1882. This act barred Chinese laborers of any kind from entering the country and permanently denied citizenship to those already here. Adding insult to injury, France, the statue's donor, had recently defeated the Chinese and colonized Tonkin in present-day Vietnam. A Chinese View of the Statue of Liberty by Sam Song Bo, read by Ernest Briggs.
Sir, a paper was presented to me yesterday for inspection, and I found it to be specially drawn up for subscription among my countrymen toward the pedestal fund of the Bartholdi Statue of Liberty. Seeing that the heading is an appeal to American citizens to their love of country and liberty, I feel that my countrymen and myself are honored in being thus appealed to as citizens in the cause of liberty. But the word liberty makes me think of the fact this country is the land of liberty for men of all nations except the Chinese. I consider it as an insult to us Chinese to call on us to contribute toward building in this land a pedestal for a statue of liberty. That statue represents liberty holding a torch which lights the passage of which those of all nations who come into this country. But are the Chinese allowed to come? As for the Chinese who are here, are they allowed to enjoy liberty as men of all other nationalities enjoy it? Are they allowed to go about everywhere free from the insults, abuse, assaults, wrongs, and injuries from which men of other nationalities are free? If there be a Chinaman who came to this country when a lad who has passed through an American institution of learning of the highest grade, who has so fallen in love with the American manners and ideas that he desires to make his home in this land, and who, seeing that his countrymen demand one of their own number to be their legal advisor, representative, advocate, and protector, desires to study law, can he be a lawyer? By the law of this nation, he, being a Chinaman, cannot become a citizen and consequently cannot be a lawyer. And this Statue of Liberty is a gift to a people from another people who do not love or value liberty for the Chinese. Are not the Annamese and the Tonkinese Chinese, to whom liberty is as dear as to the French? What right have the French to deprive them of their liberty? Whether this statue against the Chinese or the statue to the liberty will be the more lasting monument to tell future ages of liberty and greatness of this country will be known only to future generations. Liberty, we Chinese do love and adore thee. But let not those who deny thee to us make of thee a graven image and invite us to bow down to it.
The Chinese Exclusion Act remained in effect until 1943. Nevertheless, during this time, Chinese immigrants continued coming here thanks to policies that favored family reunification and thanks to the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. The resulting fires destroyed the city's government records, making it exceedingly easy for Chinese Americans to falsify family relationships. They were breaking the law that was explicitly 100% racist against them. How dare they? Chinese exclusion was repealed in 1943, and the Chinese were added to the existing quota system, which limited each country to a fixed number of visas per year. We now turn to the creation of that quota system, the Emergency Quota Act of 1921, passed after vigorous debate in both the House and the Senate. That's the Emergency Quota Act. New York, Los Angeles, and Boston were all literally on fire, presumably, and they could only be put out with immigration quotas. But what's striking about the debate from 1921 is that 95 years later, they closely echo our own debates over immigration, even though our immigration policies are different, and the faces we associate with desirable and undesirable immigrants have changed considerably. For a modern demagogue to recycle this text, all they'd have to do is substitute Islam for Bolshevism and also tell everyone what a Had is. It's a box used for transporting bricks, by the way. They needed a name for that. They couldn't just call it a box, that'd be anarchy. Presenting excerpts from the congressional debates on immigration from December 10th, 1920 to May 2nd, 1921, read by Zoe.